Good evening, everyone. This is Jen and İskit, and you are watching What's New, What's News. Today, we are delve into a really important point about the refugee policies of Europe and how they actually, what is their plan for Turkey. I would like to introduce you my special guest today. He is Professor Murat ERDOÐAN. He is a key figure in the field of migration studies, currently serving as the director of Mülkiye Migration Research Center at Ankara University, Faculty of Political Science. His academic pursuits span a diverse range of topics, including voluntarily and forced migration, refugee studies, diaspora communities of Turkish origin, European Union dynamics, political cartoons, political behavior, and Turkish foreign policy. So let me have him on our studio. Welcome, Mr. Murat ERDOÐAN.
Thank you very much. Welcome. Thank you for the invitation.
How are you? Is everything okay from your end?
Thanks. We live in Turkey, and then it is not easy to give answers for this question, but it's okay. Everything's fine.
Yeah, thank you very much for spending some time with me, because I know you are very busy, but we have some important topics coming to our agenda, Turkish agenda, and I would like to discuss the European Union policies. What is their plan for refugees? Recently, on December 2023, they made a new agreement between European Parliament and also European Union members. How will that affect Turkey?
Gentlemen, let me begin with differences between refugees and migrants, because in the European Union and the other all developed countries, they need also migrants, but they try to keep their borders against the refugees. It is a very important fact if we talk about the human mobility, and these differences make a really very important underline base. Turkey is a very important country. It was also in 2000 till 2011. Turkey was a transit country for the European countries, but the border security was much better than today, because you cannot keep a border only from one side. You need also your neighbors' help. Who is our neighbors? I mean, Syria, Iraq, Iran, etc. And then these all countries, unfortunately, they have problematic political situation and the dictatorial systems, and they are also openly all very poor countries, as Afghanistan, Pakistan, or the others. And they try to come to European countries mostly. And if they haven't this, how can I say, route, then of course Turkey is a must. But as I said, that Turkey was a bridge for all refugees or irregular migrants till 2011. What happened in 2011? In 2011, in Syria, we had first of all the demonstration against the government, Assad government, and then in very short term, we see a very problematic, very bad crisis in Syria and the other neighboring countries. But end of the day, we should open our door. We said that as an open door policy to the Syrians, because they had a real problem. They could suffer, and then they could also die. They could also injured, etc. if they were in Syria. And then because of that, Turkey opened the door for the Syrian refugees. But at that time, I think we will also see in next feature, 29th April of in 2011. It is a milestone of Turkish society, Turkish history, because suddenly we get millions of refugees from Syria, not only from Syria, but also the other countries. Suddenly they find out, they see also, they recognize, Turkey opened the door. Then they are coming to Turkey. At that time, in 2011, April, in Turkey, we had only 58,000 refugees. As you know, now we are talking about at least 4 millions. Official numbers. Some of them say that 10 millions, 13 millions, etc., etc. It's a huge political and populist area.
Mr. Erdoğan, speaking on that point, may I ask you, is there any official data of how many people are living, how many migrants are living in Turkey now?
Of course, I mean, official data in Turkey, we have, especially last 10 years, the Turkish society don't believe the official data. It is number one. We have to say that. Even COVID cases, etc., or inflation, or employment, etc. And then for the refugees, of course, we have data. If you look at the PMM, Presidency of Migration Management of Interior Ministry, you can see very clearly the Syrian under temporary protection, their number is 3.1 million. But we know also very well this number was 3.7 million, almost 8 million 2 years ago. I mean, what is the reason this smaller numbers? It's also another discussion issue. And then number two, we have refugees from other countries. I mean, not Syrian, but the others. Their number is around 300,000. If you add the both, we have officially in Turkey 3.5 million refugees. But the problem is, we will also discuss irregular migrants. Irregular migrants means they are not refugee, they are not migrants, but they are they come to Turkey without any permission. And then now there is a lot of operation in Turkey to find out them and catch out. And then if it is possible to send them back. These numbers, nobody knows what's the numbers, but there is also some numbers in PMM. You can see last 10 years, we, our police or gendarmerie, etc., they find out at least 2.5 million people from Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iran, Iraq, etc., from Arab countries. They called them as irregular migrants. And now the second step, if you find out an irregular migrant, you should send them back. But it is very, very problematic, very difficult process. And because of that, we have no idea how many percent of this people, I mean, 2.5 million, till now sent them back. And because of that, the numbers is not easy. But anyway, in 2011, in Turkey, we had 58,000 refugees, only 58,000. And then now we are talking about over 4 million, at least. And then Turkey is most refugee hosting country since 2014. It is not only because of Syrians, but also the others. And of course, as I said, that Turkey was a transit country in general. And the people from Afghanistan, Pakistan, or Syria, they, of course, wish to go to European countries. But it is not easy. And because of that, the most most refugee group, they stay in Turkey maybe forever. And now, as you said, that one of the important issue or concept is Turkey-EU relations. Because one side of Turkey is very problematic. I mean, Iran, Iraq, etc. And the other side is one of the richest region in the world. I mean, EU. And then, of course, the refugees try to reach to European countries. Without Turkey's help and effort, they cannot stop this refugee flow. Even build wall or all equipment, etc., etc., you can keep a border only if your border also help you. I mean, what is our problem, or what was our problem in Syria? Because we could not stop one side, the other side was Assad regime, and then they don't want to keep their border. And then now we have also similar problem with Iran. We try to keep fighters in Iranian border, but Iran don't play with us together, and then it is now a political instrument against Turkey. We use also somehow against the European, and then Iran use the refugee issue against the Turkey. Anyway, we made an agreement with EU, but this is very important. We have to talk about that. As you know, Turkish-EU relations has a very long history. 1959, Turkey applied to European Economic Community to be a associated member. And then we had a custom union in 1995. And then in 2000, EU decided to announce the Turkey as a candidate country. And then 2005, Turkey and then EU began the negotiation for the membership. Because of that, Turkey is not any country to make a cooperation. Turkey has a special situation, special relations with EU. Okay, we know very well. Last 10 years, 15 years, we have a lot problems from our side, from European side. I mean, if you remember, in 2004, 5, 6, 7, these years, Turkey gave a lot of effort to be a member of EU, but it was easy in 2004, 5, 6 because of the political arena in European countries. In Germany, we had a green and then red coalition. I mean, Gerhard Schröder and then Fischer, and then we had in France also. I mean, before Sarkozy, I mean, it was Mitterrand government. I cannot now remember. Anyway, these both very important countries, they gave support to Turkey for the EU membership. But then what happened in Germany? Merkel is coming, was the president, I mean the chancellor, and in France, Sarkozy, and then they both. And then these two countries, the most important two countries in the EU, and then they stopped all the negotiation with Turkey because of Cyprus, because of another issue, human rights, etc., etc. Okay, anyway, but then after 2010, we had almost no relation more with EU, and Turkey had tried to also find out another international or another concept. Not only EU, but also the other countries. In 2011, we get the refugees. Numbers of refugees reach more than 3 million, and then the refugees try to go to European countries. Between 2014 2016, 2 years, in 2 years, more than 1.2 million refugees from the Mediterranean, they reach the European countries. First of all, of course, Greek island, and then European countries. It was a huge shock for the all EU members, and then they feel themselves really not safe, and they use also this frame always. Never again 2015, as you know, never again frame as a frame for Hitler time, and then for the Europeans, this refugee flow was also very similar with Hitler time. I mean, it was very huge shock. And then they need to make a negotiation with Turkey, or without Turkey's help, they could not stop the refugee flow. And then come Turkey's EU relations and then refugee problems together. Then at that time, we had a government in Turkey. Prime Minister was Ahmet Davutoğlu, and Erdogan was president. And then the Turkish government thought that it's a good time. We can make a negotiation with EU. We can stop the refugee flow, but the other side, they should give to us money for the refugees. And then we want to also have some political advantage as negotiations, as custom union update, as visa freedoms for the Turkish citizens, etc. It is our survey about Turkey-EU deal 2016, and it was 10 points. And then 1 point was, for example, resettlement to the European countries, or update for custom union, or, for example, work together in Syrian territorium, etc., etc. But end of the day, we have now more than 8 years. EU sent money, and then the money was, as you know, 3 plus 3 billions, 6 billions. But till now, Turkey get this money, less than 5 billions. And then they gave also promise they will also give extra 3.5 billions, etc. But end of the day, we see very well, the Turkey-EU relationship is, in this case, the refugee story is very, very important, very critical issue. And end of the day, we see a very, very simple externalization policy. EU sent us money and no other political issue, no discussion, and then they have enough argument in Turkey for human rights, for democracy, etc., etc., the relations with Cyprus, etc. But as I said, at the end of the day, we have only two topics. EU sent money, and then we keep the refugees in Turkey. It's a very clearly externalization policy. And now we have enough experiment, enough, how can I say, relations with EU. And then each day we have more refugees, more refugees, more refugees. Plus, I think for United Kingdom case, we should also discuss. Plus, now a lot of Turkish citizens, they apply for asylum. It's also a new situation. Mm-hmm. And then we can also discuss this issue, but I know very well this agreement with England was not for the other refugees, but the Turkish refugees. And it's also another dramatic issue. I can stop here, maybe you can also ask.
Yeah, speaking about UK agreement with Turkey, that's the other question that I was going to ask you, because they made an agreement in 2023 on August that another immigration agreement between Turkey and the UK, and following an earlier allocation of 3 million, this happened. And ahead of next year expectations, expected election, illegal migration and migration control have taken center stage in the UK political discourse. Consequently, the UK government is striving to minimize the influx of migrants arriving by boats and expedite deportation procedures, because actually the UK Prime Minister explained that with the controversial agreement, they are planning for the next step with the Rwanda ship agreement, people are calling, and he gave a reason that they want to limit the migrants coming from English Channel, basically from French border to the France border to the UK border. So these are bonding actually each other, and this is of course affects Turkey as well. But what you say is a brand new information, as with the asylum seekers, you say that this agreement especially for the Turkish people then.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, our opposition understood also wrongly, and unfortunately, we have also not enough good communication strategy, and then the opposition had also no idea what was the content of this agreement. But I know, at least with my personal contact, etc., it was for Turkish citizens, and then it's also very dramatically actually. But General, I would like to also underline one more time this issue. It's also very important. As you know, in all European countries, including England and the other EU countries, they need also migrants, and then it is huge need, and they try to find out best people from all the world to bring to European countries. It is not easy process, and then EU need per year at least 5 million people, 5 million extra people, non-European countries, they should bring to Europe for their development, for their sustainable development. Only Germany, they need 1.5 million per year. It is a case, and then they know also very well. As you know, the UK, they didn't find even truck drivers. It was a very huge discussion 2 years ago. I mean, for the ordinary issue, ordinary workplaces, they need people, but it is the problem. Okay, in the world we have more than 110,000 and 110 million refugees. But they have not this opportunity to go European countries and then to work, because it is the huge differences between migrants and then refugees. Migrants, you can find out, you can choose them, you can give some criteria for education, for the languages, for an age, etc., etc. Then you can choose. But for refugees, you have no opportunity to choose them. And because of that, especially last 10, 15 years, the refugee flow make huge stress to all countries. I mean, they need people, but not these people. I mean, they want to choose them as an instrument for their development. But refugee issue is totally others. Because of that, they try to stop the refugee flow, but in the same time, they try to get new people to their countries. Now, in UK, as you know, UK is no more in EU. It was a very,
Yes.
very historical decision of UK, and everybody remember that one of the important topic for this decision was also refugees. I mean, irregular migrants, and then because EU had a Dublin agreement in this framework, if get EU refugees, they should share. And you said that why we should share if Greece or Bulgarian or Romanian or the other countries make mistake, why should we take them? It's a discussion even today in EU. And for Brexit, Brexit, it was really very important point. And then now, UK was they are doing. They try to keep their island. It is relatively easy, but even an island, they get a lot irregular migrants. But we have to be honest. I mean, what's the number of the refugees UK complain about that? It is never ever not more than 30,000 per year. But
no, they also explained in 2016 when the Syrian war was on the board, they only they announced only 10,000 migrants they will take from Syria.
And I mean, number one, we should understand in Turkey how big our risk and then how big our last in Turkey. Last is in German. My third language is German, and because of that, I cannot say all sentences in English correctly. Sorry.
No problem.
But a burden, it's a burden. How big is the burden in Turkey? I mean, for the refugees, because of the refugees, and then they try to keep their country fully, and that they don't want to allow any refugees in this route, and then this agreement, Turkey, EU, UK. I think I made no mistake. As I heard it, and then I had also some broadcasts in Ankara, and then unfortunately we cannot see the agreement, and because of that we cannot see that. But in name of fight against the irregular migration is a general framework. But this time Turkey, UK made an agreement, and this agreement gives UK a chance to send Turkish citizen directly, and then without any how can I say, refugee case situation. They don't make any discussion or process, and then they sent to Turkey. And then you said that they gave to Turkey 3 million euro or pound. It's very, very, very small number. Very small number. I am almost sure England, I mean, the Turkish government cannot accept this money. It is very small. But in behind of this money, I am sure there are some political discussion or political solidarity, etc., and then it's a very complex issue. But this money is not enough for this issue, and then they gave this money mostly for the border security. But it is also another drama. Last 5 years, a lot of Turkish citizens, they apply asylum in European countries, also even in through the Mexico in US, and it is also another huge issue. Last year's, only in 2023, more than 1 million asylum seekers application get EU countries, and then unfortunately, 25% of them the Turkish citizens, and then Turkish citizens are now behind Syrians the most asylum seekers application country. It is of course very dramatic and then very sad situation. And now our relations with EU is also very complicated. On one side, it is also in this agreement, the EU should give the visa freedom for the Turkish citizens, but at the same time, the Turkish citizens, they get visa with a lot of problems, etc., etc. But end of the day, they get a visa, and then they are going to European countries and apply asylum seekers. And then EU side, they said that we cannot let visa for the Turkish citizens. If we do it, then millions of Turks come to the European countries and then they apply for the visa. And then it is more complicated problem. But one more time about the UK. UK made a really very problematic issue for the asylum seekers and refugees, etc. And then the agreement with Rwanda very, very clearly against the human rights, against the refugee rights, and it is. And then, you know, what is the agreement with Rwanda? They will send maybe 5,000, maximum 10,000 people to the Rwanda. I mean, these people is nothing for England. Nothing. We have, as I said, that more than 4 million, 5 million, 6 million refugees in Turkey. But they want to show all the refugee candidates, please not come to England. If you come, we can send you the Rwanda, and then they built also sheep, as you know, refugee sheep, and then they boat. I don't know what's the special name, and then if refugee reach the English Channel to England side, and then they will stay in this boat. It is also very clearly against the human rights. Problem is that, I mean, all the democratic countries, they respect to the rule of law and then human rights, etc., etc. If the subject for the irregular migrants or refugees, they change their policy, and then their policies is really very, very bad, and then it's also not sustainable.
I see. Yeah, speaking about the UK agreement, that makes sense because when they were campaigning about Brexit during the referendum time, they even used Turkey that if they vote for Remain, that means Turkish citizens will come to the country, more than 3 million, something like that. Boris Johnson, actually, the former prime minister, declared that. So they used this as a campaign for Brexit as well. So now your point is make logical sense of this is their policy.
Sorry.
Speaking, sorry.
Now, sorry, I have to add that it is not only a problem in the UK, unfortunately. Now in Germany, we have AfD, where we have in Holland, Wilders, in France, most probably in next election, um, um, one more time, the anti-refugees, anti-migrants parties, etc. It is unfortunately EU criticize the UK, but EU members, what they do now, this is also very, very problematic. We have to also see this reality. Sorry.
I think it's a raising right wing side. It's
Yeah.
extreme right wing is now on the lead. So that's the other problem with racism, migrant problems, and etc. Another key country is Italy for Turkey, and
Yeah.
3 weeks ago, Giorgi Meloni, the Prime Minister of Italy, visited Turkey. She had some quite good time in Turkey, but before she was elected in Italy, she made some statements about Turkey, and she was fully against Erdogan's ruling.
Mm-hmm.
But now, after her visit, she's saying that Turkey is the best alliance for Italy, especially for the migrant policies and the agreements. What do you think about that?
Number one, it is also unfortunately very general issue. All the European politicians, if the subject is refugees, they let their old principle and then all their past discussion and also fight suddenly. We know very well Angela Merkel. Angela Merkel was also very problematic with Erdogan till refugee crisis. But after refugee crisis, Angela Merkel was at least 4-5 times in Turkey, and then they tried to give a lot of support to the Erdogan government, etc., etc. It is the new rule of the political arena in European countries. It is not surprising. Meloni can hate Erdogan, and then maybe really she can, she hate. But end of the day, their own country's interest is more important than their feeling. And then end of the day, they should have an agreement with Turkey. They should make cooperation with Turkey. Without that, they cannot do it. And it is not surprising, as I said, that you can see all the politicians in European Union. They had problem for Turkish democracy. They had problem. They discussed a lot. They criticized the Turkish democracy, human rights, Erdogan, etc., etc. But if the subject is refugees, they are coming, and then they get always good time in Turkey. This is, of course, very selfish issue, and somehow also very Eurocentric. But it is not sustainable. I am saying always. Also for Turkish EU agreement in 2016, it was relative balanced agreement, but end of the day, it is an externalization policy from EU side, very, very Eurocentric. They try to keep EU, okay, I have respect. But what about in Turkey? What about the other countries in Syria or Iraq or Afghanistan, etc., etc.? They have no interest. And Okay, they can stop maybe today with the support of Turkey this refugee flow, but Turkey has also a capacity, and then it's also not sustainable. And then plus, why all the European countries have a problem for the refugees? You said already, because of the right wings political movements, neo-Nazis parties, etc., etc. Okay, I mean the refugees create anxiety, create worries in the society. Then come this so-called nationalist party, and then they said that we will find the solution. What's the solution? We will keep our border. We will get and then accept no more refugees, etc. It's the solution. Even not only for the refugees, but also the migrants. It's also another very absurd discussion. Okay, but what about Turkey? Turkish democracy is very valuable for EU. Okay, we know we have a lot of problem in our democracy. We have a lot of problem for our rule of law regulations, etc., etc., for human rights, etc. We discuss also in Turkey, and then we are also suffer. But now the policy of the EU, also Italy or Germany or UK, it makes Turkey more unstable country, and then this instability is also huge negative effect to the Turkish democracy. Think about, please, last election in Turkey. What was the situation? It was almost the same in the European countries. We had also right-wing parties, very racist parties, and then they dominate all the election process. And then it will going on. If EU make really a comprehensive agreement with Turkey and a cooperation with Turkey, it costs a lot, not only for Turkey but also EU. I mean, it is very clear. We have very problematic neighbors, and then world is very unbalanced economic powers. I mean, you can see in EU, I think it is more than 20,000 euro per person per year. It is the incoming. I don't know what's the special name of that. I mean, gayri safi milli hasıla. Over 20,000 per person. But if you go to Iran, Iraq, Syria, Afghanistan, etc., it is less than 1,000. And then in this world, you cannot stay easily with your good and then with your perfect country, and then you cannot stop all these refugees or all the migrants to their own country. They have huge economic problems, they have political problems, they have human rights problems, they have all. And then you can say that only, okay, we can give you a little bit money, then you can keep them your country. It is not sustainable. It is not so easy, unfortunately. EU sent to Turkey around till now around 5 billion euro. Okay, since 2011 to today. Okay, let's say 10 billion euro. Okay, I will give you a number. It's very important. The EU countries, Germany, for example, they make a calculation and then they said that a refugee cost for Germany per year 15,000 euro. Some researchers, they said that 25,000 euro per year per refugee. If you make a calculation, if the Syrians in Turkey, only Syrians, not the others, 3.1 million, 3.3 million, if they were not in Turkey, but in European countries, for example, in Germany, you know how much does it cost till now? Over 500 billion euro. Okay, it is only the financial cost, and then in this side, in this framework, we get from EU around 10 million euro. 500 500 billions and then 10 billions. It is huge differences. Okay, I can understand the argumentation of the EU. They gave their own hugest, the biggest humanitarian aid to Turkey, not for the refugees, not for Turkey, but protect themselves. We should also see the reality. And then secondly, unfortunately, the financial cost is only a small part of the whole issue. I can ask you very clearly, if Turkey give 100, as I said, that EU sent to Turkey in 10 years around 10 billion euro per year, 1 million euro, okay, billion euro, okay. If Turkey sent to EU per year 100 billion euro, and then said that, please let's give from refugees 1 million, only 1 million. No European countries accept that, even if you give them 100 billion euro per year. It is impossible because of the security, because of the social cohesion, because of the other risk, security risk, etc., etc. And in this framework, EU side say very easily, okay, but we sent the Turkey money. This money was not for Turkey. This money not only for the refugees. This money was your instrument for your border security, not more. And then we should see also this reality. And then, unfortunately, it destroyed also this logic, destroyed also Turkish-EU relations, and then democracy in Turkey, and then the normally very good feeling to the Europeans or Westerns in Turkey. And then we can see easily the anti-Western campaign in Turkey and the European campaign. And then it means, what does it mean if you make an anti-Western campaign or a European campaign? What is your alternative in Turkey? It is because of that you should see the reality a bit larger than today.
Thank you. Coming to an end, is there any thing you would like to end? Because now we're coming to our discussion to end.
For EU side and then for the other countries, and for us especially, we understood very well, and then it was very costly lecture. We should keep our good relation with our neighbors. Okay, it is not always easy to have a good relations with Iran because of the regime, because of the another interest, etc. We cannot maybe always good relation with Syria or Iraq or the other countries, okay, but we cannot ignore we are neighboring country, and then each crisis they affect us, and then this effect destroyed our economy, destroyed our democracy, etc. And because of that, it is most priority should be taken in Turkey. We should keep better and then peaceful relations with our neighbors. Without our neighbors, we cannot keep the refugee flow in Turkey. It's also very important. Secondly, the EU side, they said that, okay, but the reason of the refugees now in the region, Turkey is also a part of this issue. Okay, somehow it can be correct. But end of the day, as I said, that we have a very, very bad economic situation in the world. I mean, there are some rich countries that are very, very, very rich, and then billions of people they suffer for their daily life. And then in this situation, we cannot stop any flu. And then we should think about a little bit in long term, and then for interest for all. I think I can stop here.
Thank you very much, Mr. Murat ERDOÐAN. It was a very insightful discussion that we had today because, as we see and we all agree, I think the European Union countries' agreements are not effective for Turkey. And the raising migration is not helping to Turkey, so it should be some sort of maybe find a balance in between, so everyone can be happier after that. And definitely, Turkey is the key country for them to make a negotiations. Thank you.
Thank you for the invitation.
And now I can say that we came to an end for our discussion today. Thursday, I'll be discussing Erdogan's visit to Cairo, to Egypt, and his 3 days trip there. So we will discuss it with my special guest journalist, Hediye Levent. She is a Middle East correspondent, actually, and she will give some important insights with the outcome, what will be the outcome Erdogan's visit, what will be the agreements, and will there be any kind of peaceful agreement, especially for the North Mediterranean Sea. So we will discuss all of this. Until then, take care, and we will meet you on Thursday.